it takes a lot less for people to get angry than it does here over there. But what was one of the first things, like, was it different here, like population wise, that you've noticed than it is back home? Like, was it any different, the same, less, or anything like that?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, immigration has been the number one topic in the UK for quite some time now. It's something that the media has ignored and politicians have ignored for a long time. With regards to Canada, I think what was very, very odd was I came and visited Canada. I visited a few times from a previous job, but now when I met you for the first time in the flesh, I think that was 3 years ago, something like that. I think it was just before. I mean, I've seen your guys' graph of the net migration, like the big spike, and that's mental. Like, that's wild to see that, and it's very similar to what's happening, obviously, in the UK. But for me, going to see it just on the tail end of the spike, and then seeing it 3 years later as well, where the spike is obviously continuing to go up in Canada, and to see that no politician is really talking about it, no mainstream politicians talking about it. The media is obviously belittling the population of Canada who are speaking out or wanting to talk about it. I've even spoken to Liberals from Canada who are as upset as maybe a nationalist, which is strange. I'm sure you guys have had different experiences with that. But I do feel that the topic of mass migration, not just in the UK, but I'm guessing Canada, is shifting, and it's pretty wild to see. I mean, you just can't ignore it. It's one of those subjects that, you have eyes and you also have data, and there is a consort effort almost to try and shield it or ignore it, and that's just happening everywhere, and it's pretty insane.
Now, do you imagine in the UK the grooming gang scandal kind of energized the reaction? Like in Canada, it seems that the energies are largely around housing, like the real estate market, unaffordability, and healthcare. Like, you can die waiting to see a doctor. But it's, in terms of the media attention, which ignored the grooming scandal in the UK, that seems to activate people in a way that still, like, it hasn't really done so in terms of healthcare and housing in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, well, I also wonder what's going to get us there.
Yeah.
Maybe you have some thoughts in that documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I think content is king. I'm pretty cynical when it comes to this, and I think it's the content that really activates people and gets them paying attention. Like you said, the grooming gangs. I remember hearing about the grooming gangs. I feel like that was almost like 8-10 years ago with Tommy Robinson and all that. When it
He
was
said it's
popping
been
off.
going on since like the 70s.
Yeah, or at least when I was first getting red pilled in politics, I remember hearing about Tommy Robinson and the grooming gangs, and like, that was kind of my first red pill. I like being scared of the Muslims coming into Canada, and there was the Danforth shooting. Faith Goldie reported on that back when she was active, and that was kind of like my introduction. But in Canada, that was a very niche thing. Not many people are watching Faith Goldie. Not many people know who Tommy Robinson is unless you're in the kind of right-wing echo chamber. But I think over the past 2-3 years in Canada, it's been the Hanuman statue, like the giant statue going up in Brampton of this like giant Indian god. Right. And just so many like little, but like building upon so many anecdotes of viral videos of, quite frankly, non-white people, most of the time Indian people, doing stuff that's kind of triggering like a disgust response in people of like, whoa, like, look at all that garbage, or whoa. There was one clip of a Uber Eats delivery driver in the GTA spitting in a delivery drink. And it's like, who does that? Like, what goes through your head to do that? And then, of course, there's the car accidents and everything. So I just think like that accumulation of those viral clips is really what's kind of brought it to the fore. And it's people who are not political, who don't know anything about the numbers of the stats and that sort of thing. And of course, what you mentioned of the, the overflowing, waiting rooms and things like this, and obviously the housing and the cost of living is definitely the, it affects people in their day-to-day lives. But I don't know, I'm a big believer in the content that goes viral that really, activates people to start paying attention to this stuff.
Well, I guess there's two streams there. There's the public reaction and what gets the, regime reaction. The Liberal Party only responded because real estate and the scarcity thereof, they couldn't ignore, right? Because what were they bringing? 750,000 a year, minimum.
Yeah, and it got up. That's what they said, and then it was actually more than 1 million.
Right. And then they finally talked about a pause. I don't know if that's actually gone into effect.
Well, I think they said that it's going to take a couple of years for them to actually bring the number back down. For some reason, we can't stop it now. What I was gonna, it's so hard to just stop people.